Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Shop Dog Fabrication. So today what we're going to do is we're going to lighten the nose of the car by around 40 pounds. So I've got a fiberglass front bumper here. I also have a couple of sheets of aluminum that I picked up from the scrapyard. This aluminum is around 80 thousandths thick, and I only got it for a couple of bucks, so a pretty good deal overall. So all in all, I picked up the bumper for $115 secondhand. Actually, it had never been installed by the person I got it from. So I'll have about $130 into this bumper. And I already have paint and materials left over from painting the car, so you know, like I said, this will be an inexpensive way to lighten the car, about 40, hopefully maybe 50 pounds. And what I'm going to do is show you how to make aluminum bumper brackets and then mount this fiberglass bumper up. So first thing I got to do though is remove this big heavy steel one, but on the Dodges I got to remove the lower balance panel as well first. So let me go ahead and rip this thing apart, and then we'll kind of do what this thing weighs, just to see how much this whole front steel bumper weighs. And then when I'm done, you know, I'll jump on a scale and I'll show you how much, you know, this weighs when we get it done, and how much weight we actually did take off the nose of the car, because weight is free horsepower. So with that, let me take this thing apart. Well guys, this front bumper actually weighs, if this is correct, 33 pounds. A little less than I thought, but still. If we're able to take that fiberglass bumper and aluminum brackets, and that only comes in at, let's say, 4 pounds or so, still 29 pounds off the nose of the car is pretty darn good. Alright guys, so what I've got now is I've got some cardboard set up here. And I went ahead and made the cardboard big enough, you know, for this one lower bracket. And you can see here I bent the flange over here on the cardboard box, you know, for the bend of this. And now what I'm going to go ahead and do is just take a marker, trace this out, and then this will be my template for this piece. And then I can also use the same template for the opposite side. I just need to make sure I bend this bracket the opposite way. So let me go ahead and trace this out. I'll cut this piece out, and then I'll figure out how to make this top piece, you know, from a piece of cardboard template as well. And so here's the first template for this one bracket, and basically you can see, you know, I can take it, do it like this, and or I can flip it around and go the opposite way for left or right. And what I'll need to do now is I need to figure out how to make this cardboard template for this piece. And then we'll go ahead and kind of do a little test fit of them, and then I'll go ahead and Sharpie these out on the aluminum and start cutting them out on the aluminum. Alright guys, so I think what I figured out how I'm going to do this next part of the bracket is I'm going to fold this back, set it up here like so, and trace it out. And then what I'll do is I'll roll this piece out, and I'll just continue on, and then I'll figure out about, you know, take a tape measure, figure out what this would be, kind of mark it where I would bend this bracket, and then I would have my shape. And then what I'll do is I'll then mark the holes to where they'll bolt onto, and we'll have you know, a couple of templates to start with. And then we'll kind of set them on the car, kind of take a look, see how everything looks, and then you know, I'll start cutting them out of aluminum. You know, I'll start cutting them out of aluminum. Alright guys, so I think what I figured out how I'm going to do this next part of the bracket is I'm going to fold this back, set it up here like so, and trace it out. And then what I'll do is I'll roll this piece out, and then I'll figure out about, you know, take a tape measure, figure out what this would be, kind of mark it where I would bend this bracket, and then I'll have my shape. And then what I'll do is I'll then mark the holes to where they'll bolt onto, and we'll have you know, a couple of templates to start with. And then we'll kind of set them on the car, kind of take a look, see how everything looks, and then you know, start cutting them out of aluminum.
And so here's the first template for this one bracket.
just did is I just improvised a little bit, and I took a piece of the tape, put it at where the base of the hole would be here, ran it out to where the base of the bracket would be, and then right there is the additional hole for the bumper bolt. So now what I'm going to do is take this piece of tape it off. Now I'll set it to the base of the hole here, stick it down. This will be where this is at, and then I'll run it down, and then cut that hole out, and this should be my second bracket. Now I forgot to put the hole up here, so I'll do that real quick, but otherwise I'll cut this out and we should have our second template. And again, I should be able to just take this template, bend it the opposite way, bend it here the opposite direction, and have a left and a right based on this template. So now I'm going to cut it out and we'll see what it looks like when I get done. There's the second template. So I've got to cut out these holes real quick. You can see I've got where my bend line is going to be, and then I'll put these two together and we'll start cutting out some aluminum. Make a few bends, drill a few holes, and if all goes well, we'll have a couple of nice bumper brackets left and right. Alright guys, so now what I've got is I've got a small piece of aluminum here, and I'm going to go ahead and trace this out, and then what I'm going to do is probably cut the holes first for these, and then also add a little radius here. And you'll notice on the template, you know, it's a sharp cut. But I want to make sure that I drill out a hole here first before I cut the whole thing out. And the reason is you want to have a hole there as a stress relief. If you have a sharp cut or a point, basically it can split and crack up through that area over time in vibration as you're driving down the road or the racetrack or whatever you're going to be using your aluminum bumper brackets for. So I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole there first to be that stress relief, as you will, so it doesn't allow it to kind of crack at a diagonal and have the part crack over time or fatigue. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few holes. You'll see there's a hole here already in this wrap, but what I'm going to do is enlarge that hole. Is on my lathe I made some dimple dies. So to add some additional strength to this piece, I'm going to add a few dimple dies in here, points to, again, add that additional strength to help with the road vibration. As I am doing drag week with this car, I want to make sure this part lasts a long time, doesn't fatigue and crack and give me problems on the road. Hey guys, so what I had done is I actually played around and tried it before I filmed it to see if one of these brackets, how they turned out. And this one actually turned out really nice. This was my test bracket, and I'm actually going to use this as a finished product. I just need to do the dimple dies here to provide a little additional strength. But I'll show you now how I do make these for the rest of it. So I've got sheet of aluminum here for the next three that I need to cut out. So I'll go ahead and cut these out, and then we'll go over to the press. I'll show you how I bend these. I got a little trick that I can show you guys as far as this. I'm going to actually use a router to route out my holes. Neat little trick with a carbide bit. Works really well. Just take your time and you'll get a nice finished product. So with that said, let me do the rest of it, and then we'll kind of go through the steps. Alright guys, so now I've got my pieces roughed out. I've got a couple of pilot holes drilled in the areas where I need to use for mounting the bumper to, as well as mounting it to the car. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a router with a 1/4 inch straight bit, and it's a carbide bit. And I'm going to basically route out the material here, which is easier to use than a die grinder and a bit, because the bits, basically get embedded with the aluminum, plugs them up, and are a pain in the butt to clean. And I found out that using a router with a straight bit works a whole lot easier. And as you can see, did a pretty nice job doing it real quick. The thing is, you just got my bit's getting a little worn out because I've used it a bit, so I need to adjust the height of it and get a new section of the bit so I can route the rest of these out. Alright, now we're at the press. And two of these will be quick, easy bends. They're basically just going to be 90-degree bends. And we'll use this setup that I've used in the past and have in some other videos. Alright guys, so now what I've done is I just kind of tacked these up in a couple spots with the TIG welder. I didn't show it, but tacked them up. I went ahead and also mounted them up to the bumper, and then I'm going to put the bumper on here in just a second. The one thing I forgot to film is, the bumper bolts here, what I did. And more or less, I just drilled a couple of small holes. It's a very small hole, just as a pilot, and went a little larger size. And then I used a couple of triangle files here to open it up, to a square so the bolt would fit in. And that's all I really did for that. One thing I do notice is when I put these in just gently is I need to, over here, kind of contour that a little better to the bumper. So I'll massage that a little bit so it has a flush fit. The inside one here fits really nice. So like I said, what I'm going to go ahead and do now, just bolt this onto the car for a minute, see how it looks. And if it looks good, then what I'm going to go ahead and do is finish doing my finish welding here, around the whole perimeter, so we have a good fit. And then, if I need to just kind of match these holes up a little better, I'll do that as well. And then, like I said, do I want to add a bracket here or not, for additional rigidity? Right now, actually, this is looking really sturdy. So I'm actually really happy with it. So I just may go ahead and finish welding this, get these to fit a little nicer, and then just go ahead and paint everything up. So again, hang on, I'll bolt this on the car and we'll see what it looks like and kind of wrap things up. Alright guys, let's see how much this bumper weighs now with all the brackets made up compared to the original. So this weighs just under 5 pounds. So the other bumper I think weighed 34 pounds. So we're talking a 29-pound reduction in weight up the nose of the car and in the car in general. So that should help with the weight transition from front to back. Alright guys, so now I've got the bumper bolted on. And actually, I don't have it tightened all the way. I've got it pretty snug. I can tweak it a little bit to get, where I want it. But I'll be honest with you, man, that is really rigid. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is just finish TIG welding that up in the back. I don't know if I'm going to add that additional brace because it seems pretty darn rigid. So, granted I used, some things that you may not have, but if you have a jigsaw, you can, cut out your aluminum. You can drill holes and hand file the openings. You could probably use your vise and bend the brackets, where I used my press. So I hope that, this helps you get some ideas on what you can do to mount an aluminum or a fiberglass bumper and make your own aluminum mounts. So again, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoy the videos that I've been putting out. So have a great day, get out your shop and do something.